Good afternoon, everyone. I have a still frosty in the corner getting roasted.
Roasted?
Maybe even getting
Why?
roasted.
I feel some animosity towards me, Brad.
I feel like you're getting slow roasted. You'll be delicious when we eat you
Perfect.
later in the.
I mean, I just had I had a burger and some green beans earlier today, so I'll be delicious in no time.
I mean, this does kind of look like Ewok Village, so. Yub yub.
It says it's echoing.
It's echoing because of the fact that I didn't realize I had the stream up on a different window. Basically, it's my fault. You're gonna be real surprised. That was my fault.
You, Bradley, did something wrong?
I know what you're thinking. What?
It's okay because we actually did a stream the other day, Eloise and I, and we kept having the sound stop and crashing and the computer wanting to spontaneously combust. So
we restarted it 4 times. We did the intro 4 times.
Strong. So tell me, I put in our description, will the new Tau points break Brandon's soul, or will he rejoice in the Tau supremacy? Tell me, Brandon, tell me now what you think.
My soul is not broken, but they aren't as good as they used to be.
I mean,
they're good. They're just not as good as they used to be.
I just don't think most of these make any difference. And so I was going to show you guys the GW document, and then I realized that the GW document is a stinking pile of trash, and I had to Reddit let me know what was going on.
It looks really good. Everything went down in points.
Everything went down in points, yeah. Except for so here's the problem, LAs, is we had the actual points, the points right now that just came out in the Ministerium Monkey Mojo magazine, all alliteration. So
almost everything is green.
And the thing is, before GW based their points on the points that they put out in the codex, which have absolutely nothing to do with anything. No one was using them. No one has ever used them.
Not what it was until yesterday.
Yeah. So they put the update and said, here's the point changes based on the codex, not based on what points everyone was currently using. So you're like, oh man, everything went down. You're like, nothing went down.
I mean, were carnivores like 90 points in the codex or something insane like that?
Oh, it's just all the points are from 6 months ago too, so it makes no difference. And I hate the fact that they did that. They should have done points are up and down based on current points in the previous document. Previous document. And then you would have seen that these are the changes that I put up here in the right. So let's just go down them one at a time. 1. Fireblade up 10 points.
Reasonable.
It's reasonable. Farsight up 15 points. Farsight's been criminally undercosted for a while. So
we got to remember with the new book, he got a new ability. So he lost his once per game full rerolls in combat, but then he got a free battle tactic every round, and then he has a 2+ save now and 8 wounds. So Farsight at 105, I think, is still aggressively placed.
Yeah, he's still for me an auto take. There's so much capitalization in the chat here. What do we got here? I'm so smart to do it this way. Yeah, it is so stupid. It bothers the shit out of me. KR, same thing with the customs points. You're like, yeah, things are so good. You're like, no, they're terrible. But so Farsight, fantastic. The Lone Spear was wildly overpriced.
Yeah, I think it was 110 when the Codex was in the Codex.
In the Codex, I like him at 90. I like it when a price like this. I actually like, because anytime I look at something and go, it's good but not great, is probably the right cost. You know what I mean? It's that dude's got a lot of cool abilities. He's got a piss ton of special rules, and for 90 points with a lone op,
lone op scout, you could give him. If you take the Kroot detachment, you can take an enhancement on him. It gives a big 12-inch no deep strike zone. If he shoots a unit and hits, all subsequent Kroot units get full rerolls to hit against that unit, which is really good.
I mean, he's legit. So I think for 90, if you're making that type of army, he's pretty good. Oh god.
Yeah,
You know what?
and he's still low op.
Let's we're gonna bounce a little bit. We're not gonna talk about the points. We're gonna talk about somebody. Don't cry, Dory with legs. Tetras are no more. Look, man, no one could have predicted that Tetras weren't gonna be there.
I told you. I called it. I called it so long ago. We talked about a stream like 3 weeks ago that Tetras are dead. Whenever they did the orc changes, and then I looked back and they killed the Space Marine Forge World stuff. It was all pointless. No one really cared about it. But then they also killed the Tyranid Forge World stuff, and then they killed the Necron Forge World stuff. And now here we are.
You forgot the fact that they RKO'd out of nowhere the orc Forge World stuff. I mean, like I said, man, no one could have predicted it.
So I'm assuming you've read people's complaining. I'm assuming you've looked at the points. What's your initial impression? How would you rate the Tau Codex before doing a deep dive into the detachments and to the points?
I think before the points today, that Tau is the most powerful codex. After
I
the
agree.
points
I
today,
agree.
I think that Tau is still a top 3 codex.
See, I think Tau are in the B range now.
I think you are a crackhead.
I think Tetras did so much work for the Tau list, and losing that unit alone caused them to drop a rank.
They got worse, but they're still so good, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to bring 3 units of stealth suits now, and the stealth suits are not even in the same dimension as durable, but they still do some work.
It's not even a comparable thing.
I love it. On a scale of Admech to Ogden comes out of retirement, where do you put the top? You did put the evil on Tetras. You know, I kept telling you.
Called it.
I said, I was just like telling you. I threw it down. And don't you put that evil on me. But it's going to be different. Is it going to be, nail in the coffin type of thing? No. Is it going to be, you're going to have to maneuver a little bit better? Tetras were easy, bud. I mean, you just take that unit of 2, you put one of them in front of the wall, one of them behind the wall, and you kept bouncing around, and you basically got the bonus all the time. So with stealth
I think
suits,
Crusaders are dead. I think all the Sisters of Battle, like Death Cult Assassins and Crusaders, I think they're all dead. But I think they're moving to the Inquisition book that hasn't been released yet. So you'll be able to take them as allies.
Yeah, I was about to say, step away from my Crusaders. Those are my favorite guys.
No, they're totally dead as is. A unit of 2 guys for 35 points.
It's a bad day to be a resin thing. Yeah, probably.
But somehow Firesight Marksmen are alive and Vespid are alive, both of which are resin. So
Also,
who knows?
1+. That is true. What's up with Necrons just basically going, we're going to keep all of our shit.
Well, Custodes kept all their shit too.
I mean, they had to. They have 6 data slice sheets? If you took them away, they just don't have an army.
They still have an army.
Yeah, exactly, KR. It's like if you don't have your Forge World stuff. There was a time you had to think about the fact that there was a time in Custode's life where you only brought Forge World models in your army.
That was the majority of the codex.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So you think it's a top 3, and I'm assuming was it Necrons and Orcs?
I think
that 3?
I think it's Necrons, Orcs, and Tau. Pick your order. Because there's a lot of scissors, paper, rock, and mission and stuff that goes into that.
Yeah, I think Tau's lower than that.
They're still so strong, dude.
They are strong, but there's some really bad matchups now. How does Tau defeat Bully Boys?
They screen them out with breachers and then shoot them in the face when the walk's done, and you out-OC them horribly, all the time. I take 3 breacher fish. I take sky rays. I take piranhas. I still probably take some riptides, and I shoot them in the face. And I you know what I do? I screen out the mega knobs. I kill the
Shoot everything
knobs.
else in the face.
Yeah. And then after the wog's done, I go, hey, remember when you guys were pissing me off and you no longer have a 4-up feel no pain? Yeah, now is when I'm going to shoot you in the head. So yeah, I do that.
All right. So let's talk about the rest of these
Let's
points.
talk about the rest of the points. I did want to talk about like I said, I want to talk about the Tetras are probably more important than all of these points put together, to be honest with you.
I agree. That alone drops them down a tier. Tetras were such an ambiguous unit, and it's not because of the full rerolls to hit. It definitely helps, but they were perfect at screening out stuff. They were perfect at
Just not dying.
not dying, doing actions, and they could just steal objectives with a casual 14-inch movement, being able to put 4C on an objective at late game.
Yes and yes.
Stealth suits can't do any of that as well.
Sure they can, except for the fact that they'll be dead.
Stealth suits are so easy to kill. It's not even funny. I think it's a trap of people bringing 3 units, but that's just me too. I'd rather take shadows.
I think that I'm gonna put 2 on the board, and I'm gonna put 1 in reserve, and I'm gonna peek out, and I'm gonna get things. I think that you got to hit flanks. You have to be smarter about your plays. I thought you could be so dumb with your Tetras that it led to sloppy play. You can keep your stealth suits alive way longer. You just have to be very cagey with them. You can't just be, here's my Tetras, I'm getting full rerolls, you know what I mean? Sorry, I didn't mean to make you actually play the game, Brandon. Tetras, go! Yeah, it's just like...
I mean, conveniently, the price of 2 units of Tetras is almost the price of 3 units of stealth suits.
Yeah. It is funny though, just because Tetras are, the number of times I just didn't bother to shoot the Tetras because I know I could only kill 1 at most.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, my Tetras are standing in front of my army. Leave them alone.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine. I'm not worried about it, but they're definitely not as strong as they used to be because of loss of Tetras.
True story. Trail Shaper, 65 points.
Steel. So good.
I was just about to say, this dude's bonkers, Phil. Tell everybody what it does.
So the Trail Shaper attaches to a Kroot unit, and what it does is allows you, before the first turn is played, but after you know who's going first, you get to redeploy 2 Kroot units within 6 inches of him.
That seems good.
It's so good. If I'm playing against World Eaters and I'm like, oh man, I'm going first, then I just take them and put it behind. Or if I'm going second, then I'm like, hey, man, remember that time you had 24 Kroot models in a straight line that you couldn't walk past?
Question. You redeploy within 6 inches, or they have to be within 6 inches?
6 inches of the character to redeploy. And you can redeploy anywhere on the table.
Okay, that was nice.
And you can go into strategic reserves.
Or you can do a backflip.
You can do the backflip.
Nice.
You can block out everybody's infiltrators and other scout moves because this happens after the scout moves.
Yeah.
It's so strong. It's so good.
Yeah, he's bonkers, Phil. Let's do Devilfish and Breachers at the same time, because both went up 10 points, so effectively the unit goes up 20 points, because it's not like you're taking a shit ton of Breachers by themselves, or Devilfish with other shit inside them, to be honest with you. I guess you could take Pathfinders in them, but I'm not.
Yeah. Well, so the Fireblade Breachers Devilfish combo is something I was looking into. I was going to take 2, maybe 3 of them with the new rules because Crisis Suits got toned down quite a bit. But now that it's up 30 points, it's definitely going to require a little bit of massaging to get everything in.
100%. I mean, you're not taking Tetras anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, the one big thing...
Broadside's going up 20 points of models. It seems like a really weird nerf to me.
Which it sucks because of the fact that I thought you were going to see him on the board. I just don't think I'm taking Broadsides plus 60 points for a 3-man unit. You know what I mean? That's bonkers.
In my opinion, Broadsides are being punished because of Maka. Because you would have been able to scout them, move your 5 inches, auto advance 6, and still be able to shoot. So you get 17 inches of movement turn 1 and still be able to shoot.
Sure, but like every other detachment basically goes, hey, my broadsides are terrible.
And that's why I don't like the methodology of what they're doing with pricing points.
It's just make it so that broadsides don't scout. You know what I mean? Make the Monka should just have like certain things that don't get to sneak up because it makes no sense. You're like, hey, you know who's not crafty and nimble and super fast? Storm
Broadsides.
Surges, broadsides. You're like, hey man, you know who never snuck up on anyone? Like, that makes no sense to me. Just put it in there that they can't do it.
Like, I was looking at taking a broadside or two just for Kion, just to get some railgun shots.
That's what I was looking
Later
at.
in the
For me, I was looking at broadsides. Well, two things. Missile sides were in Mont-Ka, and rail sides were Kion. And I thought that, like, I would really like a big unit with missile drones with it. Just a super volume of fire feels really good. Super volume of fire at plus 60 points does not feel that good.
Yeah, and they lost Tetras, which makes all the missile drones go meh, because they're BS5.
Yeah, that's a big thing. The broadside plus Tetras, they should go together. You know what? I should put them side by side. I'm not going to now, but the losing Tetras is the people that suffer the most from Tetras are broadsides. So broadsides got a double hit. They went up 20 points a model, and they lost Tetras, which is gigantic for their missile drones because missile drones are hitting on 5s. Just let drone controller come in, bro.
Yeah, and think about this too, Brad. Like, if a broadside is 110 points, you could get a hammerhead, which doubles its move and has a stronger railgun for 20 points more. Why would you not just take a hammerhead?
Yeah, I mean, you get a huge butt at that point in time because I'm probably going to take 3 Skyrays.
3 Skyrays, 3 hammerheads. Let's go.
3 Skyrays, 3 hammerheads, 3 breacher fish. That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of physical money on the table.
Yeah, and then 3
It is a lot of
piranhas.
physical money
I
on
don't
the
even
table.
know. I'm not sure I could deploy that in
I think
search
you
and
can.
destroy. Yeah, if I deploy it on the line, which is not.
Believe in the power of armor. That's what Justin Cook does.
Just put the stuff out here. Oh God, I see a go blue already. Probability coming in. Tau points. Go blue. I think I sent too many 2s super chats because my phone won't let me buy that option out. I love that your phone's just like, hey man, this is definitely
invest
fraud.
some more money.
That is true. Brad tells everyone to measure how thick their butt is, then says take 9 Skyrays. You're like, make sure that you can hide everything. Also, take a billion gigantic models.
They do take up so much space because we at Adept. I mean, you played against us at Adepticon team tournament, and we had all the tanks all the time.
Oh, it's so
It
funny.
takes up so much space.
We
You
played
just
it.
can't.
We played in board quarters. It was hilarious. You guys literally put your army out and went. I guess this is how you guys were playing Tetris basically just to make things fit. You're like, well, I guess this goes here and this goes like this to lock in a line because.
Well, good thing the points went up because then there's less stuff to put on the table now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Far Stalkers, went up 15 points, man. I
don't know why.
Why? They haven't even seen play yet.
So I tried a unit at an RTT, and they're okay. They don't do anything.
Resoundingly okay.
They're resoundingly okay at damage. And they have all these special rules that just don't do anything. Because they either die immediately or they don't have the damage outputs that make any bit of difference.
I mean, they are literally dual wielding pillows, so I'm not really that afraid of them.
But at 85 points for 12 models, like with the Trail Shaper, I think it has some play, but that's a lot of points too.
Yeah, I don't see myself taking them at all now, to be honest with you. Maybe a squad if I'm.
I can see a unit with a Trail Shaper. That's for board coverage.
Yeah,
and flexibility.
that's what I'm saying. I might take them. They don't. It really hurts the Kroot detachment, to be honest with you, because I would have taken a lot of them in that. And now I will not, because I think their points went up too much. Well, let's talk about more Kroot stuff. War Shaper is 60, Flesh Shaper is 55. Give me your emojis on both. Actually, tell everybody what they do first, because these changed. Both of these changed. What's a War Shaper do? What's a Flesh Shaper do? For everyone.
So the War Shaper is the one who gets a free battle tactic stratagem I'm assuming that's how it's going to be worded. The issue is that in the Kroot detachment, there are no battle tactic stratagems that are worthwhile. There's one, which is what's it called? Where you get +1 AP against one unit, which is very mediocre when your guns are AP 0. Flesh Shaper is interesting because he has he has sustained hits, or yeah, I think he has sustained hits 1, and then he has an enhancement in the Kroot detachment for 15 points where it becomes sustained hits 5+. But when you partner him with Farstalkers, they could get sustained, lethal, and precision on 5+.
Seems legit. When you said precision, I mean, they got every keyword basically.
They do have every keyword, and amazingly, Farstalkers with a Flesh Shaper is surprisingly good at killing that Necron Crypto Thrall.
I mean, yes. Screw that guy. Technomancer, you gotta stab that.
Yeah, like it's like, oh man, I have sustained hits, I have lethal hits, and I have precision. Your guy's so dead.
I like to stab lieutenants in the head too, or biologists.
Yeah. So the Flesh Shaper is definitely winning on this one, just because you get sustained hits, and it's shooting or close combat. So it makes the Kroot units, the blocks of 20 punch up harder. The War Shaper, I think we need clarification on whether or not he is able to bring back a 20-man dead squad back from the dead. Because how I read it that he can, you just slow roll it. Other people read it where he can't because the unit's dead. And I'm like, okay.
I love it. Necrons haven't taken Cryptothos since they got punted into the sun. Yes, we know what he means.
Eloise has the power.
She does have the power. It's super chat. I have the power.
You know, it'd be funny if you just threw $2 at me, since you're literally sitting right next to me.
Make it rain, but throw it at him and change. Don't make it rain, make it hail.
Actually, here I have a.
Hit him with $2 worth of pennies and nickels.
I think I have that probably. All right, so all of the Shapers seem really good. The War Shaper will be really good. I don't know if you saw the money just fly at me. I feel like I'm at a strip club now.
I love it, David. Hit him with it in a sock.
So if the War Shaper could bring back a 20-man Kroot squad for free before he dies, totally worth it. If he cannot, he's not worth it.
I think he can, though. Why wouldn't he be able to?
Because the internet likes to argue fine points of things that aren't clear.
Punch them. I feel all of my arguments go to that. How do you win an argument, Brad? Hit your opponent. Your opponent's unconscious, you automatically win the argument. Victory!
Yay!
I argued them into unconsciousness. So
Rampagers for 110.
I mean, just take Krootox.
Yes.
I don't get it.
So Krootox are 105 for 3. They have the same exact melee profile as Rampagers, the same movement, the same exact stat line, the same base, but they have a gun.
The only thing they lose is the mortals on the charge, and they get a gun instead. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to take that.
Yeah, Krootox are way better than Rampagers.
Agreed.
I could justify a unit of 6 Rampagers in a Kroot detachment because there's a lone op stratagem, but generally speaking, no, they're just still not worth it.
God damn it. Now I gotta look something up. Speaking of arguments, is bigger shots or bigger gets give orcs +1 damage against anything or only vehicles. Hold, please. I have my codex right next to me, but I don't have my glasses next to me, so I legit can't see it. So
you have glasses, Brad?
I can't see shit. A close up.
You never wear them.
Oh, I know, because I'm an idiot.
Neither does Brendan wear his. What is wrong with you all?
I can see shit without my glasses, though.
We have problems, clearly. I mean, why are we talking like this?
Apparently, Lyle wants you to drive up and stream from his school as the kids are taking a nap, aka here's some special Kool-Aid.
I want you to know how old man I'm reading this right now. This is how far I'm holding my phone from my face to read it. So
So you're not becoming old. Your arms are just getting shorter.
It's not even possible to get shorter. They would just be nubs if they got shorter. All
But
right.
points.
Let's
keep
talk
going.
about this strat. So each time you use the strategy, you can choose to push it. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle, add 1 to the wound roll. If you choose to push it, add 1 damage to the damage characteristic of that attack until the end of the phase. Yes. The
It's
answer
only
is
vehicles.
no, it's not. It's +1 to wound versus vehicle and monsters. If you choose to push it, add 1 damage. Different sentence. If you choose to push it, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack.
Do it. Always press the button.
It's a separate sentence. Yeah, I mean, it was period. It's +1 to wound versus vehicles and monsters. Period. Next sentence, add 1 to the damage. So YOLO Swaggins. The shortest
So
arms.
my
Yes.
question is, how does it trigger?
Hold, please.
Because it says you use
When
you know,
your
this
shooting
unit when
phase.
blah blah blah.
It's the target is just one of your units. Target 1 mech, orc walker, or Grotz vehicle unit from your army that has not been I hate them when they say that. It's not been selected to shoot. I like to pop strats on units that can't shoot anymore. That unit that I just shot, putting a strat on them now. I'm just here to cause chaos. Well,
I mean, I could see it if you want to generate a whole bunch of devastating wounds on your vehicle. I'll give it to you.
I'm gonna hazardous the shit out of my own vehicles. Take that.
Well, I think their detachment rule allows you to cause even more hazardous, so it's like double hazardous.
Yeah, you know what's awesome? Shooting your Grot vehicles that all went to Legends. Schnarf.
Well, you could just show up at your local RTT and maybe you can use them for.
Makes me so angry.
All right. So Rampagers, totally not worth it unless you're taking a Kroot detachment. If you're going to take this model, just take Krootox instead. Infinitely better for 5 points cheaper.
I actually think the Krootox are legit now.
So I was actually having this crazy thought when I was talking tab points today. 3 Krootox with assault weapons seem really good.
Like they've got a good body, they've got a decent shot, and they've got good attacks. I mean, they've got 2 damage attacks. You know what I mean? It just like the unit feels pretty decent, especially if you're bringing a decent amount of Kroot. So, especially the detachment, to be honest with you.
In the detachment, I have 3 units, but like in like a Mon-Ka detachment where they have assault weapons,
Still seems legit because they are Tau units. You know what I mean? So they get all the shit.
yeah, you could get exploding hits or you can get
Lethals.
assault weapons.
So,
Or no, they changed it. So it used to be that it was army-wide lethals, and then if you advance, you got assault weapons. Or if you were marked, you got assault weapons. Now it's the other way. Now it's army-wide assault weapons, and when you're guided, you get lethal hits.
yeah, true. Got it. What do you think about Kroot going up 20 points? We kind of knew this. You've been saying this for a while. You were definitely on point with this.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 70 points. 75 seems a bit much, but there was zero chance they were going to stay at 55 points with sticky objectives and OC2.
Yeah. I kind of wish they split the difference and made them go up 10 points as opposed to 20 points, because 20 points does seem like a kind of a lot, you know what I mean? Especially if you want to do Kroot detachment and you want the big units, you know what I mean? It feels like this is a little bit of a kick.
So like right now, if they remained 55 points, you would be able to take 120 Kroot for 660. Now to get that same amount, it's substantially more. Let's see. I'm just doing the math real quick.
It's 120 more.
It's not. No, it's
per. I'm saying it's 120
it's
more for the regular
points.
for 10-man squads, and then it's 240 for the for all of it.
Yeah, so 900 points.
And that's
That's
significant. 100%. And that was the thing that I thought the Kroot detachment. Well, I said that at the beginning. If the Kroot didn't go up, the Kroot detachment was going to be one of the most powerful, because you could take a giant amount of bodies and then just put Tau firing behind that.
And now you can't. I mean, you can.
You can, but you don't get as. I don't think you get as much stuff. I mean, you got to figure that you're losing, 240 points. You know what I mean? That's big. You know what I mean? That's a huge deal. That's just a lot of shit. That's a squad and a half, 2 squads possibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Of
almost
things.
it's almost 2 sky rays.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a decent amount of shooting because you want to make sure that you have that break point there for it. So that's a huge deal on that. Man, I'm getting some weird commercials.
Well, we've been buying some weird products like
Don't
so.
say it like that.
So we got a commercial for a product that like Eloise Googled, like 2 months ago for some specialty dice box because she was tired of her dice bag. So now she has a dice tray.
Ever since I got Brit, when bad brain Brad decided to order Brit that get inside it shark pajama thing that had the mouth, I've been getting some weird things putting out. The suggestions of what I should buy are pretty out there.
Well, my favorite is all the pirate commercials I get for the dinner and a show.
Okay, so listen to us talking about it.
So,
I
what do the points change for the list that you're taking to rack it up?
Well, now that I actually have the points, I have to build the list. But I think the list I had went up a lot. I would have to rebuild it to confirm the
here's
numbers.
my original list was triple breacher fish, triple sky ray, double or triple riptide. I can't remember off the top of my head on that. Triple piranha, a unit of fabulous sun sword with Uglo the Mock and what? Aereo
Sunsword?
Ugla ride. Thundar, baby. A unit of Sunforge with Farsight. That all fit. And I don't know how much of it fits anymore.
Well, you don't have those Tetras anymore, so you can just you save 160 points.
I did have stealth suits in there, but I don't know if I had 2 or whether I had 1. And now I think I'm going to have 3. Because I do want rerolls.
I almost just think as if at this point you take Shadow Sun.
Shadow Kroot.
Shadow Sun, just you get that reroll 1 aura though?
Yeah, it's an aura.
Yeah.
So then you could just guide with dumb shit like
It does
Devilfish.
feel pretty weird. It's got to be an awkward conversation to hang out with Shadow Sun and Farsight. Hey guys, we should talk.
Like when I look at stealth suits and then I look at what Shadow Sun could do, I'm like, I'd rather just have Shadow Sun.
Well, especially if I'm going to bring triple Skyray and if we're going to put some hammerheads in there,
Yeah.
her value goes way up. My problem with her is the fact that if you're moving around all the time, you're kind of doing your floating L, which is, screening, and then you've got an L of backfield shit, you know what I mean? You're shooting firebase, moving around. She gets more value if she hangs out with a posse of people that she can be in the middle of.
Well,
She's also
what I
lone
was
op, so which is a
what I
big
was
deal.
thinking is Breachers.
She's not getting anywhere near Breachers.
I would 1000% use her for Breachers.
I'm bringing Oryx to Rocky Top. If you push her far enough that she affects Breachers, I will have a unit of knobs, stuff her in a bag, and throw her off the board. That is insanity. You're like, what's the other new book that came out? Oryx, you're like, yeah, she's going in a bag.
Yeah, but think about it like this. Like, I'm playing my Breachers more defensively anyways. I'm not going to be super aggressive in New York. So.
They say she's never got it, and he get her.
She's going to the marriage bag.
She's going to the marriage bag for sure.
So do the points change impact any combo and make them not viable, like the Breacher, Cadre, Devilfish combo? Does it make it priced out?
That's an excellent question, actually. But I don't know if it makes it invalidates it. I think you bring less of it. There's also a chance that I don't bring the Fireblade with the Devilfish because I still think that it kills what I want it to kill. And a lot of times, it's also how you're playing them. I think that Brandon plays his Breachers differently than I do because I end up looking at them as bums that have OC2 and get in the way of shit. And he looks for the damage output a little bit more than I do.
Well, with the loss of cyclic crisis suits, I was going to be relying more on having another unit of Breachers a cadre Fireblades to pick up that damage loss. But
I don't
it's just
disagree
different
with you.
in
You just
playstyle.
play
Like,
them slightly different than I do. I mean, it's not like I don't want them to have damage, but you get a lot more. You get a lot more value out of their damage, and you set them up. I play them a little bit more. Here's my trash, get in the way kind of guys. They just have a lot of play. Breachers are really valuable because they have a good volume of shots. They are consistent with what they do, but they're also 10 bodies that are OC2. You know what I mean? So it's just, you can steal objectives from people and lock them down. Just ringing an objective and making someone not be able to move while stealing their objective is just awesome. So, and also in Montcal, they just have like a bonkers amount of movement. You just kind of go, hey, where would you like to be? That's where you are.
yeah, because of the addition of Scout and then the auto advance 6, then Disembark. So you can move them up 6, 24, 20, like 27 inches
Yeah, it's
with the
great.
Disembark.
Well, the thing is that if you count the devilfish with it, you can just put one devil breacher fish and put somebody in their deployment zone and just go, welcome to turn 1. You get no movement. I'm 1.1 away from everything in your army, especially if you're talking about armies with lots of vehicles, mounted, basically anything that doesn't go through walls. If you're playing a GW terrain, you can really just pin somebody in their zone for not that much cost. And that's huge in a game. If you just go, hey, you don't get to score this turn, screw off.
Yeah, but counterpoint, you could do the same thing with Trail Shaper and Farstalkers, and it's half the price.
I can and I can't, because of the fact that you get a chance to just kill my guys. You know what I mean? Because the Trail Shapers have to deploy in a way that if I can go all the way across the board with Breacher Fish, or I cannot. The Trail Shapers have to be in the danger zone, because if you put those guys up there, though, I'm getting extra movement just by punching your Kroot, because I'm just going to charge them and get extra movement.
So in that particular case, like, you can either...
God, hold on. Wow, coming in with a $2 super chat. I demand an hour to talk about storm surges tonight.
So do storm surges have play at 400 points?
It's so much. My problem is any big thing, because even when you're looking at like the big knights and stuff, you know what I mean? They're not that much. You can get 300 point knights. So you know what? The storm surge is more competitive to me if you do the conversion that makes it so they're holding their gun as opposed to just standing there, derp derp derp.
I agree. Yeah, that conversion is way better.
So they do have that's still a beefy unit, you know what I mean? And the fact that it can sneak up on you in Montcal also, it gives it more play. I don't know. I never want to say yes to a giant
on
thing.
GW format terrain, though, on player placed 100%, but on GW format, I don't know.
It depends what you're playing against. I mean, if you're playing like GW3, you know what I mean? You could just go down on the bottom there and just murder shit for a couple turns. So maybe. I hate saying that with a giant. Like, it already makes my heart go fast thinking about how much they cost. Are there any changes you were hoping for that didn't materialize? I kind of wish they left Riptides alone as far as their points, because I thought they finally were. Riptides just weren't playable for the beginning of that.
Yeah, they started out at like 240, and now they're back up to...
They're 180.
The only time we saw Riptides is when they were 165. Yep. Now they're 180.
At 180, they might be too fair. At 165, they were at a low cost point. And I do like Riptides quite a bit.
I don't know which detachment is really benefiting Riptides.
That's exactly what my question was.
I think that I wanted Broadsides to be viable. I thought that they came out and they were semi-viable, then everybody moved away from them. If they would have left the points alone, I would have put Broadsides on the board. I think that Brandon makes a good point on the fact that you could be abusive in Montcal. Just give them
Just say they can't scout.
Yeah, exactly. Solved. Right there. And it's just, again, let me get my chi together.
Yeah, 330 points
No,
for a unit of
well,
broadsides is insane.
again, you can't point cost mechanics. Just fix that. You know what I mean? Just put a literal side note that everybody can do this except for these 2 units. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And it's fine. You don't have to put their points up then. So I just don't understand why they don't change mechanically things and they put points on them. You're like, hey, could this mechanic be abused? Yes. Cool. Point this thing out of existence. You know what I mean? You're like, or you could just change the mechanic. You're like, nope, don't do that at all. Points.
But the broadside, the whole stick with the broadside mechanic was taking advantage of Tetras, and without Tetras, like it just that alone probably killed it, even if they were 270.
Agreed. I do say that with Tetras, broadsides, the Tetra loss is the biggest for broadsides, and them getting a 1-2 combination of points and Tetras, I think is too much. You know what I mean? The combination of that is too big. It's like when we were talking back, with Knights, when they lost the Bondsman and they got all those points, you're like, too much. Same thing we got Custodes for a while when they did like 4 nerfs in a row on them, where they lost their mortal wound protection and they got points and they couldn't take 10-man units. You're like, any one of these things would have been meh. All of these things together make them bleh. Go to the wall, otherwise known as directly next to you. Out of the points.
I don't know why she's just not asking these questions.
I'm just gonna read it. I'm gonna read it out in my.
Another stupid question. You might not want to answer all of them.
I'm gonna read this out in my sultry voice.
Okay.
How do the points impact the viability of each detachment? You guys couldn't agree on what the best detachment was, which is awesome. Is there a winner now? The Kroot detachment went down in stonks. I don't think it's dead. It just went down. You could still play it. It's just not something like before with the points. I was really excited about just spamming a bunch of shit, especially in team tournament. I was excited to just spam a bunch of guys and put a ridiculous amount of Tau shooting behind it. Now that you got to put a lot less Tau shooting behind it, I don't know how I feel about that. With the increases, with the points coming out for the suits, I still think that retaliation is probably less than Mont Ka and Kayan. Mont Ka is probably the top right now with this.
Just because you could jam stuff in people's
Yeah. Hands. Well, it's just because I have less shit. Kayan wanted more stuff. The more stuff you could get, the better Kayan felt. Because you wanted to overwhelm people on turn 3, 4, 5. Well, turn 2 with Commander on turn 2. But I think that it probably goes Mont Ka, Kayan, Retaliation, Kroot. If I was going to make my picks as far as order right now. What do you think, Brandon?
I could see that.
How do you feel?
How do I feel? It's fine. The thing for me, I would place Kayan higher just because I play more defensively. I'm not a super aggressive player, and if you're not willing to make those aggressive plays with Monka, I don't think you're getting the traits as you need to make it worthwhile.
I agree on that. To be honest with you, I still think that still think that Monka is probably the most powerful, but I also agree for my playstyle. Also, I will probably use Kayan because I also don't do a whole lot. I mean, the joke is that a perfect game of 40k is none of my models interacting with any other models. So, yeah. But as far as just pure, what is the maximum ceiling? I think that Monkai probably has it. Monkai has the ability to how about this? Potential to make the game feel awful. Monkai has max potential for that. Because you can just jam somebody in a corner and table them in the first 3 turns, and you're just like, hey, this was awesome to play Tau. I hope you get hit by a car. So
yeah, so like it rewards aggressive play. But if you're not an aggressive player, I don't know if it's necessarily the best attachment.
Oh, I'm saying I'm just saying from a feels bad perspective.
I also think with GW terrain where you could punish that type of play style really easily. Like, why would I want to do that in an orc list?
Because
or world leaders for that matter. Because I don't think they're dishing out that much damage.
Well, it's not even damage. I mean, just if I can put you in the corner, I'll do it all day long. I'll do it twice. If I can just put your army in a corner, I'll do that. Hell yeah, I'll do it. Enjoy not moving. Orcs or world leaders would be pissed about that. Cool.
Become an aggressive a player, problem solved.
Become
Yes,
an
that is the
aggressive
solution.
player.
Be aggressive.
Paint Celestine, let's be honest. I feel Monka leads to less feel bad compared to being pinned in your DZ from Gargoyles Orcs. Yes, I think it's easier to stop though from the I mean, it's always going to feel when you're playing an aggressive army and you're playing like search and destroy the board corners, it's always going to feel a little sketch when you're playing an aggressive opponent and they go first and they just go, "Hey, we're 13 inches apart, right? Cool. Here I come. Hold my beer. I'll get it in a moment."
Cowabunga.
Yeah. So, yes. But on like the standard terrains, if you're playing Hammer or Crucible, I think it's going to be a lot harder. I mean, I still don't understand why Tyranids aren't doing better, but we'll go on that better. Like, Gargoyles are just broken. It's just ridiculous. Like, a unit that can just move 24 and is OC2 and flies.
For 80 points.
You're like, what? You're like, yeah.
So do you think that the points will encourage more diversity in army build? Or like, are we going to see one build pop out and dominate? And that's like the Eldar Codex had the depth that you can basically play whatever and have it valuable.
They can play whatever now. The problem is that anytime you make points go up like this, it actually gets less diversity because you end up having we'll find out what the most efficient thing is and you'll spam that. When points are down, it gives you more options to do more things, is my opinion. Yeah. How about those Vindicators dropping in price? The only Vindicators...
I really need someone to explain Vindicators to me. They're so damn expensive for what they do. I'm sorry, they're just awful. They're so expensive.
Hold on, let's talk about like and subscribing to the channels. Like and subscribe to Still Frosty and Death or Glory. It really helps us with the metrics. Let me tell you, brother.
And if you want to leave a comment when the videos are done, leave a comment. Brad loves answering people on comments and talking about his stories over text.
I do.
It's his favorite.
So awesome. I'll just call people. That's what I do.
So you said that there are two books coming out. There is Orc and Tau, and it appears that Orc is the clear winner.
No, because the thing is that the Tau can just pick up the Orcs. There is the potential for that. I mean, we saw what Brandon did to multiple Orcs in Adepticon, and none of that has changed.
Okay.
So, like, there's still the potential for Orcs to just... It depends on mission on that. Anytime you're talking about very skew lists, like very heavy melee lists, and or very heavy Cloth Tau shooting lists, it becomes a lot of what mission you're playing, what deployment you're playing, and list composition a decent amount, because the fact that Tau have enough trash still just get in the way and do things. Uh-oh, what do we got here? There's some big things.
They're talking about the Vindicators. I want to know why they're good.
I mean, it's still a beefy body.
They're very durable with the 2-up save and T10.
I mean, you can compare it kind of to a Reaper because it has the same range. You know what I mean? It's just I've always been back and forth on any gun that's super short up because you have to get up on top of it.
So what are you taking to Rocky Top? Are you doing Orcs or doing Tau?
Orcs, 100%.
Okay. You know it's player place terrain, right?
Wow, I just found out that like a couple days ago.
You know that it has a shooting gallery in the middle of the table. You cannot place terrain in the center.
Yeah, I'm still going to take the Orcs and just get shot in the face with Tau. I used to just be like, player placed is not my favorite. Now I kind of hate player placed.
So I wonder why, like, in previous editions, you could put a piece of terrain in the middle of the table. Now you can't do it anymore. And I don't know why FLG and, by extension, Rocky Top Rumble are...
Well, here's the thing, and I understand how they did it. This is the reason they didn't want people placing it in the middle, because they found that whoever placed the first piece of terrain was winning at a wild rate. because the shooting armies would put a nothing in the middle of the board, and the hand-to-hand armies were slamming down the biggest pieces, especially because of the fact that they've now pushed U's. The FLG guys have a lot of pieces of terrain that are now full U's, and you would just jam that onto the middle objective, and whoever got to place that had such an advantage on their opponent because they got to park on the middle objective. So they always had one more objective. They had a better staging point. They could really dominate the game from there. And they saw their results were huge on whoever got to place the first thing.
But as a shooting army, I could still do that same exact thing. And it's worse now. Because I could take the forest, which is mostly pointless, and now I have an 8-inch radius or diameter.
I agree. You put your forest on one of the left or right objectives because you already know that the middle objective can't be covered now with the new rules, and now you have two of the terrain the objectives are now terrain free. 100%. That's why
what he did to me did not bring me joy.
Yeah, yes, 100%. I agree with that. It's why I don't like player place terrain. It just, you can make, as we try to solve problems, we make more problems, and you can now make like bonkersville suck boards with the new rules, especially when you're doing shooting armies. 100% KR player place terrain sucks. It just, I don't like it at all. It's 100%. It leads into a shooting. And the thing is that if I was just going for pure, I just want to win this, I would go and take Tau. But I'm going to be playing orcs for all the team stuff that's coming up, and I want to get some reps in. And I also I enjoy playing the orcs more than I like playing Tau. Even though I like Tau, I don't like him as much as I like orcs. So, man. And I also want to put some of my stuff on. Also, I'm painting models right now. So I want to put.
You should show off those Gretchen. I mean, normally we talk about hobby stuff on Wednesday. Do you have a picture of them ready to go?
I might. Give me a moment.
Wait, I had more Tau questions.
Let's go more Tau. I got more Tau time. We have Tau
he still
time.
has to look up the picture. He doesn't have it readily available.
Oh, I do on my phone, but I don't know if I'm on
when Orc came out, we talked about the meta slowly moving towards Horde. Whoa! What? I don't want to be on the camera. What does Tau coming out change to the overall meta?
Tau, and they're going to receive all the hate in the universe. So
I don't think Tau is as meta defining as it was with the previous points and what everyone assumed the points would come out as.
Trying to show somebody my Gretchen makes me sad, but there's my Gretchen.
Let's see them. I'm ready.
Why does it make you sad? You should be proud.
He is proud.
I'm proud that I'm painting, but like you made it like show people your Gretchen like they were going to be like stunned at my skills.
No, we're also, stunned at your painting.
Painting small models is bullshit.
Yeah.
Also, I did find out, Eloise, we're talking about the fact of glasses. So when I paint, I have to wear readers and whatnot. And Sniggs was talking about a couple of things on that I should be trying to paint. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he made me come over. He's got one of the big, magnifying with the light on it. And he's like, look through this. And I go, hey, there's a skull and a bunch of other stuff on these guys. He's like, you were so blind, dude. You need to get better magnification. I'm like, you might be right. You might be right. So I was just like, oh, I should paint all these other pieces that I didn't know existed on these models. And then he basically makes me relook at a commission piece he was doing. And I'm like, hey, did you know you did a bunch of cool stuff on the reins and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, man. It's cooler when I don't have to showcase my models to a blind guy.
So just make sure you paint that run third, though, so you can make sure he's a part of the unit.
Okay, I'm going to get... Hold on, I got to go to the wall on this rule. The Gretchen totally get a CP if you go first. It's so stupid. If somebody says anything about it, put them in a rear naked choke, and when they regain consciousness, tell them I gained a CP by rolling a 4 on my Gretchen. It drives me crazy. It's clearly not the intent of that.
So to go back to Tau, though, Brendan, do you have an ersatz of list?
Do I have a list? No, but Brad, I believe, said he was scheduling a Brad Fix My List
We're gonna do
tomorrow.
We have Fix My List tomorrow at 2:00, and we will be doing one of the lists we'll be fixing will be Brandon's Rocky Top list with points for that.
Yes.
So
I need to build my list, and I do have another list there, which I think will give Brad a stroke.
Oh God.
is it only models above 200 points?
No. Each model, each unit is pretty cheap.
Mm.
I mean, 100%
And they're of
on
a
that.
Kroot variety.
Mm.
So hey Brad, I've solved the orc issue. No, so shooty Overwatch threat now with Bad Rock on. Yeah, I was, to be honest with you, to be fair, I've actually thought about bringing some flash kits just because they're so cheap, but also they just punch like knobs. The problem is that unless you're trying to bring Dread Mob or even some of the versions of Speed Freaks, the orcs just don't really have any shooting anymore. Because of the fact that Dirty Bad Rock and the boys pour one out for him, are gone. Yeah, exactly. Brad's order preference, Retaliation Kroot.
And I think Kroot is below Retaliation if it's a single player event.
Yes.
If it's a team tournament, would you put it above Retaliation?
I would put it yes, because I think that Horde in teams, and you can just avoid things like exactly KR. I don't want the all Alaris going into Kroot because they just have all blast weapons that just be rolling all of the dice. But being able to double Horde people in teams is a big deal because you can just like not play the things that have answers for it. So that is a big deal.
Your Aloris Terminators will kill so many Kroot, and then they'll just keep coming back. And then you lose secondaries, and you're really wondering why this is happening.
But man, you think about how much fun you would have putting Kroot in a wood chipper, though. So many.
I've played a Pure to Kroot detachment before. I've done it at RTT. I did it at the Brown Eye Terror Invitational, if you remember.
So, yeah, that is true.
No one remembers a Brown Eye of Terror Invitational.
I mean,
I remember it.
I mean, Eloise and I didn't remember it because I'm pretty sure we weren't there. Physically, we were there. Spiritually, we clocked out a while back.
There may or may not be pictures of Brad covered in newspaper.
I also played whatever was next to me in the case.
That is a true statement.
So I had 4 glass cabinets with models just conveniently displayed in all various poses, and Brad was laying pretty much on the floor, and he just went across the row with his finger.
Yep.
He's like, I'm building a list with that. So he had like a Thunderfire cannon, a Whirlwind.
I literally went straight across the row, and then I started on the next until I ran out of 2,000 points, and I'm like, that's what I'm playing.
I have a question for you, Brendan.
Shoot.
Are you ready?
Maybe.
So the Rocky Top is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do well at Rocky Top, you actually have a chance of being best Tau ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever?
Do the points impact your chances of success?
Actually, I think they do. And the reason why is because I think less people are going to be excited about playing Tau.
Oh, fair. If there's less competition, your chance of being good are greater.
So what Eloise is referring to is, I think last week, I don't know if it's changed or anything, but in ITC ranking, I am 1.01 points behind a guy in England for best Tau.
I think you'll be able to get to Tau. You'll be able to get Tau easier because they're not the auto front runner. So you'll have, again, like you're saying, you'll have less people trying to.
If there is less competition, it's easier to be the best.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone jumped off Tau during the index phase, like they were gravitating towards Eldar or gravitating towards Chaos Space Marines. And
everybody was gravitating towards freaking Eldar at the beginning because they were stupid.
Yeah, but when everyone was playing Eldar, I was playing Tau. Like I've pretty much only played Tau this entire time, with a couple spatterings of Sisters of Battle.
So,
but if you look at that ranking, I literally just need to place in the top 50 at Rocky Top, and I'll be
hold on, Brandon. Is it best Tau or best Kroot?
You know, I guess I would be best Kroot. I really want to take a pure Kroot detachment to Rocky Top, but that seems like throwing away $100.
It's funny because it goes to be cool if ITC ranked detachments too, and they kind of do because certain things are effectively a detachment. Marines do get a lot of separate awards for things that are just Marines. Like,
It's like best Blood Angels, best Dark Angels, so on and so forth.
you're just a Marine. Accept your fate and move on. Let's talk about channels. I heard you guys have a channel.
We do have a channel.
We do, and we are going to utilize it because we are
A nightmare
Eloise
walking,
been making
psychopath
notes.
talking.
we are prepping. I am a psychopath, and it's my 80s training montage. So we are prepping for Rocky Top. So like,
Eloise told me she wants to play 20 games of Warhammer before Rocky Top.
Nice.
We have one down so far. So
I swear to God, my next question was going to be, how are you going to find time to play 20 games of Warhammer? And then I went, oh yeah, never mind. so all of the things, some of the stuff.
we were going to have Sean Rice come over immediately after the stream and talk about player place terrain, but apparently it's storming outside and he has a vehicle that has a low profile and he didn't want to get swept away in floods.
Let's see. 40keylordcast.com. I just did a double chaos episode on all the gods. I did a separate episode in Korn and Tzeentch, and then I did an episode on Slanesh and Nurgle, and those will be coming out on Mondays we release.
And when's that Kroot episode?
We're going to do a Tau episode at some point in time. John hates Tau with a passion of 1,000 suns. He makes sure he makes a joke about Tau and how much he hates them in every single episode. It's kind of funny now.
You should make a lore video about Outriders.
Oh, you know what I'm going to end on? I'm going to end on this because I've been getting... This is his new thing to rib me on. One of my pet peeves is in the lore. Space Marines with all their internal organs plus power armor have just absolutely no business ever being poisoned by anything, and they totally in the game aren't resistant to any poison whatsoever. And it drives me bananas.
I mean, they are literally wearing suits of vehicle suits.
They
that are
also have
self-contained.
filtration. Yes, they can sit in a vacuum. They also have 3 different organs inside of them that filter out poison. So there's no
Dark
chance.
OP poison, man. It pierces through.
That's not it's not even dark. It's every poison. But the helmets are off. That's just Space Wolves, bro. And Space Wolves have to tape their helmets off because if you didn't have your helmet off, how would anybody see your sweet top knot and your tats? Yo,
They wouldn't be able to wear the helmet because of how much hair there is.
That is true. You don't need. How are people going to see how sick you look if you wear a helmet? It's dumb. Just run.
Or you could be like me and you hate painting flesh. So you put the helmet on every single space. And if it has a bare head, you cut the bare head off and you put the helmet on.
Oh my God, that's heresy right now. Why would you do such a thing?
I do it all the time. I don't like exposed heads. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I just told you the logic behind it. How is anybody going to see my sweet top knot or my cool tats if I'm wearing a helmet? This is logic. You can't get past this logic. This is done. Argument.
When are you painting a Space Wolves army, Brad?
Dude, I got to finish the orcs.
So after ATC, you're painting Space Wolves.
It depends if Lehman Russ comes out like he's supposed to, I will paint a Space Wolves army for sure because the return of the Fang is going to happen. Because nothing embodies what I like to do more than a bunch of crazy meatheads wasted out of their mind charging people. This makes me just happy.
I never thought I'd hear the day that Brad is promising to paint models in the future.
I've been having a really good time doing it. I don't know what happened. I also don't have any deadlines. I guess I have a deadline. I want my army, the orcs, to be done by July 17th or whatever, whenever ATC is.
Let's see. Are you coming out the Wednesday before?
Yeah.
So you have it's July 12th.
You
Or
know
sorry,
what?
10th, July 10th.
1+1 save. I have an answer to your question. Lemon Runs is a tank and a boy, and you can go in a tank but not in a boy. Now I know.
Oh.
And on that note, I think that's a great note to end on.
And that's what we were ending on. Like and subscribe as always. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will be fixing this tomorrow, which will take me a long time to set that up because
I do love how probability forces the space every single time he types my name. Even when he comments on Still Frosty Gaming YouTube page, there's always a space.
Well, yeah, of course there is. That's how it is.
Oh, and if you want to learn to play your place terrain with me, we are going to be streaming later this afternoon.
What time?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
we need the thunderstorms. We need the thunderstorms to clear out so the computer doesn't explode and the internet doesn't like die.
Those both seem legit. All right, Queens, wave it out of here.
Thank you everybody for joining us.
Stay milky.